Yep, got the dreaded blob of death. In this case it's not fatal. Not the printer's fault. I had many prints going on different printers, wasn't paying attention. Didn't notice this hadn't printed, so resent the same print a couple of times. So all the filament has just built up inside the hot end. I figured as I hadn't dismantled this one before, why not do it on camera? Because what could possibly go wrong? Sorry about the fan noise, but the hot end fan on this is set to run permanently and haven't changed that yet. So we'll get the build plate out of the way. Heatproof dish in place. Then what we're going to do for starters is heat up the hot end to see what filament we can get out before we start with the dismantling process. I'm hoping I can get enough filament off that I don't have to do this with a heat gun, but I won't know until the fan housing is off. And as I've never dismantled this before, I'm not 100% sure how to get the fan housing off. So I've jacked the nozzle temperature up to 230. While that's starting to warm up, I shall start figuring out how to dismantle this. Now I'm going to try very hard to do all of this without swearing. Okay, so the whole housing looks like it's just attached by these two bolts. This may speed things up or make things a whole lot worse. We're about to find out. For anyone not familiar, this is a Biqu B1 printer, and it's currently the only printer I own that is basically running stock. Wow, yeah, you can really see the mess I've made in there. Look. Not good. So now we need to get all of this apart to get that filament out. And the first thing I can see is I've not got the right Allen key head to hand. Hex key! I knew there was a word. Stay. Talk amongst yourselves for a bit while I go on a wander. As in I wonder where I put that last time I was using it. Nope. Okay. New plan. Whoops. Trusty box of Allen keys. What are the odds? I don't have the right one. Oh. Could be lucky. Well, it's that temperature, so don't want to have it on its side too much and have all that stuff oozing in around all the housing. I wonder if I can get away with just pulling off this fan ducting. As you can imagine, this smells absolutely lovely. It's translucent PLA, and I've currently got the hot end cooking at about 230, so that should loosen it all. The good news is I'm still getting a temperature readout, so hopefully it hasn't damaged the thermistor wires. Hopefully. Oh, lovely amount of filament in there, can you see that? Hard to tell when you've got the white shroud, but there's a lovely caking of filament inside of this. And the most annoying part of this is it's of course completely self-inflicted, because had I been paying attention I would have noticed the first print hadn't gone down and wouldn't have kept sending more. Never mind, it's all part and parcel of the fun of printing. Ooh, lovely bit of goop there. Come on. Okay, did I guess right? Oh. Come on, where are you caught? Oh, now that's a hell of a job. It's done a nice job of pulling it all off in one though. Can you see it better there? Well, hats off to Biqu. I've seen printers have much less of a blob of death and take a dive. But that's actually pretty clean. Bar a total coating of filament, but how much of that is filament? These are ceramic tipped tweezers, so you don't risk shorting anything. And when the filament cools, in theory, it will just wipe straight off. But it looks like I've got away with it. I have a bit of dripping that I can live with. So let's bring that temperature down. Right. Hopefully now if I let that cool a little bit, I'll be able to peel some of that filament off. And in the meantime, wow. I don't suppose I get lucky in it. Eek. Come off in one. Oh. Don't try this at home, it's a tad warm. Ha! That bit was a bit more than a tad warm. Which is why I had tweezers. Safety last. Come on. Ah, did not notice there was a ridge there. No wonder it was sticking. Come on. Oh, I hope that wasn't... Nope, that's okay. It was just filament. Wonder if Biqu sell these separately. I'll have to check. If they do, it wouldn't hurt for me to get one. Not that I'd ever do this again, of course. And if you believe that, you must be new to this channel. Okay. Oops. Now, has it warped that? I have no idea if it's warped it or if that dip was meant to be there. Given that that's where all the filament was, I've got a bad feeling that's warped it. And my guess would be that hole's meant to be round, not weirdly twisted. Oh well. We work with what we've got. How are we doing? I've got this cooling down now, so it's at about 110 or thereabouts. So the filament's getting sticky, but it means I can hopefully scrape most of it off. Hopefully. And any I can't get off, that'll just sit there and gradually drip onto prints, confusing me while I'm getting random little colour changes or blobs or whatever. Considering I thought I may be looking at a new hot end or at least a new thermistor, I'm not that worried about a wee bit of filament drip. And do not do what I was about to do and reach to take that off by hand. That's the whole point of the tweezers. Okay. Think we might have managed to salvage it. But before I put it all back together, I'm going to drop a bit of filament in it and make sure I can extrude filament. So let's bring you back up to PLA temperatures. Whoop, not 260. Here we go. Right, let that heat up for a minute. Wow. Yeah, no wonder that wasn't doing well. Hey Normie, if you're watching, do you want this for the next giveaway? Right, let's have a nice bit of bright coloured filament. And make sure we can pass filament through this before I put it all back together and then have to strip it again. And what we've got here, oh, scat the camera, is GST's fluorescent or neon orange. I think it was fluorescent. I know GST gets some bad press around the world, but I've done probably 20 or 30 spools of their stuff here in the UK and never had an issue with it. The only issue I've got now is, thanks to Brexit, it's very expensive over here. Well, not very expensive, but for what was a reasonable budget filament, it's now not, because the shipping from Spain kills any cost savings. Okay, place your bets. Will we get filament flow? Wow, I was not expecting to get away with that. And you can see little trails oozing off the nozzle of the other filament. Okay, well that went more quickly than expected. And we're about as clean as it needs to be. So I shall cool it down and reassemble it. Let's not sit it in that filament and pick that stuff up. Oh, done it again. Okay. Really like the way they put together this hot end. Nice and simple and dead easy to remove. Just 2 bolts to get the whole assembly off. I bought this when it was on a super cheap deal from the, was it the Biqu website? Probably. So I think I paid about 100 with delivery for this printer, brand new. And currently it's the only one of mine that is still running stock. I've added, this is an overhead light. That's a Pi camera, and here out of frame is a Pi fixed to the back of the frame. But every other printer I own has ABL on it of some form. I've got a probe ready to go onto this, but it is the only printer that consistently prints without one so far. I have modded the firmware, it's updated and it's got the manual mesh leveling on it, but I'm really surprised, because one of the first mods I do for most printers is whack ABL on. Which I will do at some point with this, because I want to clipper it and I want to set it so the hot end fan isn't running constantly because that annoys me. There's also, I believe, a case fan running. There's a lot of fan noise from it, and every other printer I have here is running so that when it's not actually printing and it's cooled down, they're silent, no fans run. And being as this has already got a Biqu Tech board in it, I think it's an SKR3, it should have enough fan ports and options for all the fans to be turned off when they're not needed. But I haven't got that far yet. Generally speaking, the printer that works the least well gets the mods first. And this is the first time I've actually had to work on it. Right, these two bolts go back in and that's it. Really nicely thought out design. Okay, now obviously that's too loose. I'm not sure if that's settling in and it's gradually sat like that, or if the filament build-ups push this out of line. I shall grab a spanner and sort that out while I'm at it. It's just a quick tweak of the eccentric nuts. Once I find the right spanner. And what's the best I can lay hand to? Everything but. I can never remember, it's either a 10 or an 8 and I always grab the wrong one. Ooh, lucky. Okay, so that's taken that play out of it. And then just hold the carriage still and spin the wheels. If you can feel a slight resistance when you're turning the wheels, but you can hold the carriage still, you're about right. If the wheels will spin in fresh air, they're too loose. And if you cannot turn a wheel without it forcing the carriage to move, it's too tight. But there you can see I've got full motion. And it's taken that wobble out. So that's just a quick check on the eccentric nut while I was at it. Right, that's that then. I expected it to take a lot longer. So now I can put this back into place and fire a print at it and hopefully pay attention to make sure it's going down this time.